أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل وصلى اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين. We will continue on today with the 17th flash, the fourth sign on page 186. Mariam, whenever you're ready, please begin. Thank you.
The fourth sign. O world-worshipping man, ye conceive of your world as very broad, yet it resembles a narrow grave. But since the walls of that narrow grave-like dwelling are of glass, they are reflected one within the other and stretch as far as the eye can see. While being narrow as the grave, your world appears to be as large as a town. For despite both the right wall, which is the past, and the left wall, which is the future, being non-existent, they are reflected one within the other, unfolding the wings of present time, which is extremely brief and narrow. Reality mixes with imagination, and you suppose a non-existent world to be existent. On being spun round at speed, a line appears to be broad like a surface, despite in reality being a fine line. Your world too is in reality narrow, but due to your heedlessness, delusions, and imagination, its walls have drawn far apart. If driven by a calamity you stir in that narrow world, you will hit your head on the wall which you suppose to be distant. It will dispel the illusions in your head and banish your sleep. Then you will see that the broad world of yours is narrower than the grave, finer than the Bridge of Sirat. Your life passes faster than lightning. It pours away more swiftly than tea. Since worldly life and the life of the flesh and animal life are thus shake free of animality, leave behind corporeality, enter the level of life of the heart and spirit. You will find a sphere of life, a world of light, far broader than the world you imagined was broad. The key to that world is to make the heart utter in the sacred words, "There is no God but God," which expresses the mysteries of divine unity and knowledge of God to make the Spirit work them. This consists of three matters. And then it goes on to the first matter.
All right, so thank you. That's it for now. Thank you for reading the fourth sign. We'll just stick around with the fourth sign. Thanks, Miriam, for a beautiful reading. While you were reading, is there anything that stood out to you or struck your attention? Feel free to share out. Yeah, go ahead. You have something to say.
So about the fourth sign, something that just popped out to me immediately while I was reading was the first paragraph especially said something like that really caught my attention. It reminded me more of like the Matrix, where they think that they're in a world that is really non-existent, and then one guy wakes up in reality and finds that the world is totally different than he actually thought it was, and that everything he loved and knew was not really existent.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, interesting. So yeah, a lot of movies out there sort of touch upon this concept of what we seem to be it, or what we seem to be the reality is actually not it. And so even sometimes when we are dreaming, it may seem to be real, but then you wake up from the dream, you're like, oh, it was such a wonderful land, you know, and then suddenly you're like, oh, morning time, okay, gotta do this, gotta go to school, gotta go to work. But well, these days we don't have any of that going on, but you're right. The reality or the way this universe is set up is in a way that if I just swim in it for the sake of just like swimming, then I won't really grasp what that, you know, like the ocean points to or whatever I'm interacting point to. I know it's a little broad, but what you shared reminded me of that, and we can start the discussion based on this. So definitely, while you were reading, the first sentence just stood out to me. Oh, world worshipping man, world worshipping man. So yeah, you and I and everyone in this chat room or around us, we find ourselves in this universe. The universe being the platform or the ocean we are swimming in. And so we interact with things around us here, and then the world worshipping man, the worship word also is it's very strong. It carries lots and lots of meaning. So in terms of what is it that I would say, what is it that I worship? Or let's see what Miriam put up. We worship the world, not knowing about reality or just blocking it out. Yes, that's also another interesting point, Miriam, you're sharing, that we worship the world not knowing about reality or just blocking it out. Do you care to expound a little more on this nice wording statement that you shared? Anything that comes to your mind, feel free to say that out. Thank you.
Okay, so what I meant by that was most people like, I'm just going to give out an example if that's okay. So we say we have a piece of cake. We look at this piece of cake as something that the world provided, not knowing that there's much more to it. There's so many more steps in making it and care put into it. And we just eat the cake and it's gone. And so we worship the world. And so by worshiping the world, this taste doesn't last. So, but if we connect with our creator when eating the cake, not only will the cake last, but we'll be considered worshiping our creator instead of just the world.
Thank you for this beautiful practical example. Indeed, this is exactly how the human being is in this universe. We're given existence, and like you said, if we go on just doing our daily routines without questioning actually what the source of existence of anything is, then it's just going to bring us disappointment, because at the end of the day, guess what? Like you said, the chocolate cake disappears, or that beautiful meal I had goes away, or anything in general, it departs, it leaves us. So we are then left with like questioning, why am I made in a way where I am experiencing all this? So what is actually everything else pointing to? So thank you, Miriam. And I see that we have Sohail Dar's hand up. Thank you for being patient. Go ahead if you want to say something.
Yeah, just my brief takeaway from this fourth sign. So like, again, it's in reference to divine unity. And to me, in summary, what he's saying is that this world you experience isn't what you imagine it to be. It's not real as you think it's real. It's an illusion. He gives several examples: the grave, a line if you draw a line and it's spun around its like center point, and the point being, for example, the grave, if you were to have two mirrors, one on the left and one on the right, one representing the past and one representing the future, you can't actually reach out to them, but because you have both those theoretical points, you experience the present, which you can't hold on to. So you imagine reality to be some sort of, something out there that you can hold on to, you can touch and feel and grab onto, and but what you're really experiencing is a moment, an infinitesimally small moment. The illusion is that you're experiencing something tangible in and of itself. Or he gives the line example. I guess a modern, sort of modern example would be, like I mean, I remember, but I mean, movies being on film and having one frame pass in front of the projector. But if it goes in motion, I mean, if one frame after another moves in front of the light, you have the illusion of motion, of time. Something out there is real being projected. Just like the line, if you turn around at a point, it appears to have some sort of like roundness to it, a shape, but it's not. It's just a line. The line represents, or like the frame represents this moment, an infinitesimally small moment. But it's through that sort of creative act, constant creative act, that we experience what we think is sort of real. And that's where the delusion, as he says, the heedlessness delusion comes from. Even though the world is narrow. So he's saying, pay attention that your life is finer than, narrower than the grave and finer than the Bridge of Sirat. In other words, you live on a moment, and if you think about your time of life in relation to eternal existence also, it's not essential. It's nothing, practically speaking. Even by the very fact that your life in this world, you can't even hold on to it. Every moment is gone. So what kind of life are you really leaving? That's why it's passing faster than lightning. There's nothing faster than an infinitesimally small moment. But as it pertains to divine unity, then that's this in and of itself, this very fact that we're living, this is, as he says, a great sign pointing to the absoluteness of the creator of the whole universe. Because this can only happen, this sort of moment and one moment after another moment that appears to be some sort of constant reality I'm experiencing, can only be because of an absolute source, a divine, a source whose existence must be absolute in nature. Otherwise, you can't explain one moment in this universe. But it's the illusion that leads us to delusion. And then his last paragraph, shake free of animality, corporeality, which is essentially this material world, this illusion, and enter the level of the life of the heart and spirit, because the heart and the spirit, essentially, human consciousness, perceives this sort of illusion. It can perceive the fact that I'm living on a frame, a moment, and go beyond that and say, oh, there must be a director to this movie, one who knows the entire movie. And you will find a sphere of life, world of light, far broader than the world you imagined was broad, because the source must be absolute. And in the end, you realize that this world is not its source of existence. It's not its own God. And you say there is no God but God. which expresses the mysteries of divine unity and knowledge of God, and to make the Spirit work them. To me, this is I think, practically speaking, it's sort of maybe difficult to be in realization of this at every moment, but if you are, um, uh, you almost feel as if um, everything you're experiencing is a sort of illusion, and you realize whatever is happening out there, um, as it pertains to animality and corporeality, isn't real. It's all it's all it's all superficial. It's all fake. Um, so that's it, the point is for the heart to utter, "There is no God but God." That's the whole point of this momentary existence.
Thank you for this very concrete comment. Yeah, that's true that everything that we are experiencing here, it's really on a moment-to-moment basis. It's very practical, it's very obvious. However, because due to heedlessness, or like you said, being lost in illusion, which leads to delusion, I may just get stuck or lost just within the transience, or this is it. I'm in the movie myself. I'm acting out in the movie with the rest of the creation around me, and then I'm going from frame to frame without realizing or recognizing that there must be a source of existence that's bringing about all these interactions that I am experiencing. And also, I think lately I've been thinking about this whole thing about capturing a moment. Like, this is it. We're experiencing existence. It's very live. It's dynamic, and we get excited. And I know there's some younger ones here as well, Miriam and Rayan, and I know Umar is there as well, and Miriam from Ohio. Lately I've been thinking about how an artist, when he's painting something, it's with each brush stroke, the characters or anything is coming into existence. So similarly, the universe is being painted on, and then we are experiencing whatever is being brought into existence, all the qualities that we interact with. So it's a very live painting. And so if I observe and I interact with the art that is manifested in the universe, and so by studying the art, I conclude that this universe must have an artist. Or if we want to refer to a movie scene, so me being in the movie, all of us being in the movie, we conclude that the movie must have a movie maker or director. So all of us are really acted upon live in this live show of the universe. And so the whole point about, like, well, what do I do with this whole journey, frame by frame, moment by moment, each brush stroke followed by another brush stroke. I really need to direct everything that I experience, first of all, acknowledging, recognizing the source of existence of everything that is presenting me with this, because that is the only way that I can find true solace and I guess answer all the expectations that my spirit yearns for. And I know when we say expectations that my spirit yearns for, it may seem very broad and general, but in general, human beings, we want to be eternally satisfied. We want eternal happiness in everything that we do. And in this live movie of the universe, we see things coming into existence, things that we love, hold on to, they leave us, they depart. And so really, what is it? How can I achieve my eternal existence? I mean, how can I achieve this eternal happiness that my spirit is yearning for? And that's really the whole human concern. That's what all of us are in need of. That's what all of us are yearning for. A one that brings about each one of us into existence and fulfills all our needs and desires here. So just wanted to give in a little summary of the comment that was shared. So I'm gonna give it a pause here and see if anyone has anything to say. H-Besa, go ahead, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Thanks for all the comments so far. I'm thinking about them. I wanted to, something in the passage in particular at this moment has attracted my attention, and that being like within, I guess it seems almost as if like the inevitability of finding myself within this false sense of like broad space within my own grave, if you will, within this universe, as the text starts, "Oh, world worshipping man," I think it's, when I look to myself, it's easy to see that I experience, or the way that I experience things, I guess on one hand there's a desire for the permanence of things, but at the same time, when I look at my own reactions to things, for example, I find that also like I attach myself to things more than their due, and it almost feels like one nuance here is the sense of expansiveness in my narrow world. So as I, see this world as being broad, and seeing it within this illusion of being broad and expansive, it's necessary for me to have this, I mean, again, not intentional, but necessary for me to see the world in such a way so that when I, as the text says, it says, if driven by a calamity you stir in that narrow world, you will hit your head on the wall, which is supposed to be distant. So that once I hit my head on the wall, that I then become aware of this apparent contradiction, this sense of expansiveness or broadness that I have had, that I when I analyze myself, that I definitely seem to be having in my relationship to things, with this apparent contradiction that they cannot necessarily fulfill my expectations. That's just one minor point that I'm thinking about that attracted my attention.
Thank you for bringing this point up. While you were speaking, and I was like reading that part again where Hamim highlighted, while being narrow as the grave, your world appears to be as large as a town. You're right. I mean, like the way we go on in this journey, it seems that, yeah, and there's no doubt about it. The universe is vast. I mean, I can get 100 years, but I won't have all of my life to like just discover everything that it has to offer. And I remember when I first started off my career, I had this mentor who used to tell me, Fariha, the sky is the limit. And I was like, oh, wow. I mean, and he was there because he had like a lot of years of experience. And here I was at 21 years old. I'm like, well, yeah, the sky's the limit. Look at that. I can keep climbing, whatever. There's a lot that I can do. There's a lot I want to do. I want to get this. I want to achieve this. I want to achieve that. Yeah, that's all great. But when we come to the reality of things, like you pointed out, I mean, I'm not going to have enough years to discover everything, to get all of this, achieve all of that. It's just that the way this universe is set up, it's vast, it's expansive, expansive, expansive in that ways. And yet here I am within this vastness of this universe, and I have all these endless feelings and desires to achieve everything, and including all the tools and human faculties and my feelings and senses that are given to me in terms of, I enjoy existence. I enjoy having ice cream on a nice summer day, walking by the beach. I enjoy biking. I enjoy playing with friends, shooting hoops, basketball, you name it, baseball or anything else, right? And so here I am with all these endless desires, and I don't want any of this to end with this within this universe. And I know that, of course, like the way that the universe is set up, there's this grave right there. I don't know, coming up in the near future, could be tomorrow, I do not know. But I want all these feelings and emotions to go beyond the vastness of this universe. And definitely I desire all the happy moments of my youth. And even now, you know, I want them to last forever. I want to experience them in eternal sense. So this is how we are made. And the author is sort of like knocking on our head, knock, knock. Hey, yeah, that's true. However, look again, you know, that, you know, while I'm just going to say, you conceive this world as very broad, yet it resembles a narrow grave, that, yeah, you're bound to die. And so what are you supposed to be doing with all these endless excitements, feelings that you find yourself with, right? I think that's where the real human purpose actually is pointed towards. What am I to do with all my myriads of feelings that I find myself with? Yes, I see, you know, people come, go, you know, and then I'm also bound to die. But then how do I go on living in this universe in a meaningful way? So thank you for sharing your comment. That reminded me of this part. Just going to check in to see if there's anyone here who wants to share something. I saw HBiz and Ali Murmur. Okay, so you want to give Ali Murmur? Okay, go ahead, Ali Murmur. Speak. HBiz offers you first, so go ahead.
Thank you, thank you. Everything is covered up actually in what you have said, except some points I want to just contribute to the discussion as an addition, if it is necessary or not, I don't know. What is going on here is, I think in this fourth sign, the reality of the world is out there. But reality of the world, in fact, changes according to my attitude towards it. I may imagine, as far as my world is concerned, as far as my perception of the world is concerned, according to my attitude. As I understand, the author is presenting to us that there are two ways. There are two ways of using my human capacity. One is based on imagination, and also the text says my animal side. It means bodies, the existence side. And my animal side, my bodily existence side, I may imagine it's too large. For example, saying that I'm young and I'm going to live for sometimes. So forget about the end, forget about the beginning of my life, but as if I am living in a vast world. I can cheat myself by imagining this. And because I'm not listening to my, if you like, feelings, my human side. In fact, in this matter, I am living, as far as this approach of mine is concerned, I am in fact living in a very, very transient moment, because you beautifully explained all of them so far. The past is gone, future has not come yet. I'm just experiencing as a reality of my life is a transient moment. But why do we need to imagine? Why do we need to imagine the world so wide? Because our reality necessitates it. But we need to come to our reality. What is that? Our real human side. What is this human side requiring is the last paragraph, which says, leave behind corporeality, the last paragraph, and leave behind corporate reality. It means corporeality. It means definition of yourself, defining yourself as only a lump of matter. Leave this one, because you are not really a lump of matter, accumulation of some metals, atoms. Enter the life of the heart and spirit. What does it mean? Realize that you are a human being. You have feelings. You have feelings. So this inclination towards the imagined world, seeking a wide world, in fact, is innate within ourselves, but not in our corporeality, but in our feelings. As the text says, enter the life of the heart and spirit. My soul has the capacity to have this, to reach this vastness. How? That is a real sphere of life. If I admit that my spirit, my soul, my heart, my feelings are not satisfied with this world, because this corporeal side of this world, my spirit is not satisfied. My human expectations are not satisfied with this corporeal side of the world, because I need endless world, not like this universe, not like my material existence, which exists only within a very limited, tiny, transient piece of world. But what my reality desires is so wide, even wider than the universe. I want eternity. Who can give me eternity? This is the problem. How can I attach myself? If I attach myself to the material side of this world, corporeal side of this world, I am going to rot away. I am going to become a piece of earth. But my spiritual side, my human side, doesn't belong to this world. This material world is not coming from the material world, but it is coming from a world which which is not within the universe, which doesn't exist within the universe. So if I become aware of my source of existence, it means, as the text says here, if you say there is no source of existence for me, for my being as a human being, my spirit, my human side, my heart, my feelings, they are not coming from this world. This world cannot be the source of existence of my human feelings, but the one who created the universe is your source of existence. So you belong to the creator of the universe. You don't belong to this world. Then if I do that, I will have much, so broad world that I cannot imagine, because it goes beyond the limitations of this universe. That is what I have to do. Of course, in practical terms, I don't think very deeply. I say, okay, I want not a limited, narrow world like a grave. No, I want a large world. But in order to achieve my expectations, in order to be successful in my expectations, I have to think of my reality and choose an option accordingly. Which one? What is my reality? Is my reality my corporeal side, or is my reality my human side? What makes me a human being, not an animal? So accordingly, I will define myself where I belong to. Where I belong to. I have to question this. So if I decide that I belong to this world, I am bound to live in a very narrow world only by imagining, not reality, by imagining that I have a very wide, expansive sphere of life for me. But in fact, I cannot go to past, neither can I go to the future. I am here bound to. I cannot go anywhere. I can only move forward and backward in space, but it doesn't mean that I have a limitless or wide world. I cannot get out of my body even. When I realize that I belong to the creator of the universe, I understand that my source of existence has no limit, must have no limit. So I belong to him. So that is the benefit of belief in the absolute creator, and that matches my reality. Thank you.
Good point. Thank you for your comment. I see your mic is unmuted. I don't know if you're speaking or you want to say something more. So yeah, it really all boils down to how do I define myself as a human being. So if I define myself as just the way the author is saying, as corporeal reality or just like my physical body, then that's how much I can benefit from that, the reality, right? If I restrict myself to the physicality of my being in this universe, so that's my worldview, and that's how I would see things, rather than if I define myself beyond this physical side of me, in terms of all my human senses, the ability to see, feel, touch, experience, the sense of love, compassion, the sense of wanting to help, the sense of enjoyment. If I define myself with this human side, this immaterial side, with my feelings and emotions, then I am able to be satisfied in my existence. So, which means that I'm able to go beyond the glass or the box, like being in a box or like a prison, or just like in a narrow space, right? Physically, yes, I'm inside the glass, but and that only happens if depending on how I'm defining myself. So if I'm defining myself with just my body, then yeah, that part would make sense. However, I'm given more than my body. I have the immaterial senses. And so if I define myself with my human side, then I'm able to go beyond that glass door, beyond the vastness of this universe. So thank you, Ali Murmur, for pointing that out. I know Beza had her hand up, so let's check in. Do you have any comment or something you want to say, Hatice?
Yeah, it's nothing really new at this point, I guess. But I was thinking about, I guess, like aligning my, like for example, these human expectations, aligning them accordingly. And I think as far as one aspect is concerned, with how do I define myself as a human being, this dichotomy between material being and then my human side, as we've been discussing, and then I guess like connecting this somehow to for example, in speaking, in trying to live, there's no God but God, meaning that I'm sorry,
Hatice, you're
Yes.
speaking. Okay, your mic is being muffled. I don't know. Maybe talk now.
Is this better?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know why it was cutting off. Okay. I don't know if you missed out on anything, but I mean, it's just like practically speaking, as far as living with this sort of consciousness of my reality, how I define myself as a human being and how I align my expectations that go beyond the bounds of this material universe. Like when for example, if I find myself disappointed in myself or in someone else, going back to the other point about like, I get not as far as like pointing. Oh, I got him. Are you playing with your mic? It sounds a bit weird. Does it still sound weird?
There is static in between.
Okay, maybe. Hold on. Is this better? I'll just keep it like this. Okay, I don't want to lengthen my time at the mic longer than it should be. But just like this idea of like, once I find myself in a state of disappointment, for example, for whatever reason, and yeah, not to blame anyone, meaning like not to blame, oh, this person made me disappointed, or I'm disappointed in myself or whatever, but some aligning my expectations or trying to see that experience of like hitting my head on the wall as somehow a means through which then I can realign myself or realign my perception of my reality, refresh myself, because inevitably I do find this like my human side finds this expansiveness within myself, and like I guess like with expectations, for example, or it could be anything else really, because it's a feeling, but within these feelings I interact with other people, I interact with myself within the bounds of this universe. So I'm not sure if I don't really have a point here that I'm able to express clearly, but I guess like the necessity again of having to find myself in a certain dilemma, or so that I can then like that dilemma then becomes or should be utilized as a means to then I guess, you know, just check myself out. And yeah, I'll just leave it there. Sorry.
Oh, thank you. That perfectly makes sense. These feelings that we are given, be it feeling of disappointment, which we experience from time to time, especially when we have expectations from things, people, and so that becomes a means for us to reorient our like really the purpose of our existence. So like you were saying, like aligning my will with the will of the orderer of the universe, or the one that's bringing this universe into existence. So yeah, it's all about, in terms of also when I realize things that I'm attaching or giving value to, oh yeah, you're the source of my existence. So let's take, for example, basketball. I have a friend here, I know he enjoys that. So you must be missing playing that outdoors with your friends. I know there are a lot of things that a lot of us are missing doing outdoors. So, and you know, so then I question, wait a minute, is this, you know, me just playing with the ball, basketball, and shooting hoops? Is that it? Is that the source of my happiness? I mean, it may seem as such, you know, because when we have a schedule, we follow it, you know, it's all good. But then really questioning this whole thing. So right now I cannot do any of it. I cannot do any of my, you know, activities that I enjoy. So was the basketball really the source of my enjoyment? Was my bike ride really the source of my happiness? So it makes me question all that. And then I realize, you know what? No, these are just means for me to recognize that I'm given this feeling of desiring pleasure and eternal pleasure. But where is this feeling coming from? Is it really coming from the act of playing basketball or the act of biking? Okay, not really. But then again, going back to that movie analogy or the artist analogy, so the one that's setting it up, the director of the movie is the one that's bringing this into existence, or the artist of the universe is the one that's bringing this sense of pleasure in me. So then I don't get disappointed. I was like, oh, you know what? I had expectations on my friends on the basketball. Yeah, you guys are going to satisfy me. But guess what? You know, you guys are created things like I am. Nothing of this universe is the source of existence of my feeling of happiness. And so there must be an absolute source of existence that I need to align myself with. So that's that conclusion, like you were saying, within myself, this whole analysis that's taking place, then I'm able to recognize the true object of worship for me. And so then that disappointment becomes like a means, a blessing, or a jumping board to really get to know what is it that I'm yearning for. Let's see, there are a couple of comments, smiley faces, wait a minute. There's a lot that was said here. So Mariam is saying that you never expect something, because if you expect something, then you might be disappointed, and then my expectations become not to expect something, that grows to selfishness. Okay, this, I don't know, there's some like back and forth comments going on here. Would anyone want to share out a little takeaway or something? Mariam from Ohio, go ahead, please.
So what I was trying to say there, before that, I accidentally cut off the chat, so it became a bit confusing, so sorry about that. But what I was trying to say was, you shouldn't expect something in return, because if you expect something, then you don't know what's going to happen next, and so you might be disappointed. And the more you expect something from a person or something, or like if you want an outcome, because if you did something and then you expect something, then that grows to selfishness. And so it's just safe and best not to expect something, because it's just not good to expect something from someone because you did something. Do it for the kindness is what I was trying to say.
Oh, thank you, Miriam, for sharing this out. Yes, I see that you have your hand up again. Do you want to add something more? Okay. Does anyone else want to make any comments on this? Ali Murmur, go ahead, please.
Miriam asks always interesting questions. I love her question, or other Miriam Ryan also. These young people come up with the genius things. So genius they are. So anyway, this is very interesting. Miriam said we shouldn't expect anything because it may not turn out to be real, so that we may fall into disappointment, which is quite correct, but human reality is different. If I define myself that my hopes lie in this world, yes, this world, always disillusionment we can find here. It means disappointment. Whatever you expect, we don't know what will happen. Yes, the creator of the universe, whoever creates it, perfectly arranged.
Wait, is somebody speaking? I don't hear you. Is it me? No. I think Ali Murmur is experiencing some delays. Okay. So Ali Murmur, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you.
Do you hear me now?
Yes, we hear you now. So you were saying that the reality of this universe is such that you're talking about expectations?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. So if I define myself within the conditions of this world, definitely I cannot guarantee anything, because I know the world, how it works, but my expectations may not turn out to be, because I cannot control it. For example, a very simple example, a farmer may sow and cultivate the land and expect something to happen. It may not. That's not guaranteed. Although the creator knows it, but I don't know. So I will feel myself disappointed. But if I direct my expectations to my creator, so I will not use my corporeality, but I will use my soul, heart, my spirit, my human side. I will use my human side. And my human side extends its expectations to the creator of the universe. Now, because the creator promises through creating me that you need all these. What does it mean? It is if you like, it is a guarantee certificate that these needs are to be met. But by whom? By whom? Of course, that can only be met by the one who gave these needs. So I can direct my need to the creator of my need. I can feel that I can understand and experience in my heart, in my spirit, that this creator can satisfy it. But if I ask the creator to give something to me from this universe, because the universe is under the control of the creator, but if he lets me have it within this universe, whatever I want, guaranteed from this universe, I may forget that the creator is given to me. Universe, the order of the universe is given to me automatically. That's why it is left unknown to me. The future is left unknown to me. Why? Because I will always feel that it is not the universe, it is not the fixed order of this universe, which is responding to my needs, but the creator of the universe is responding to my needs. So I have to, if you like, address my needs to the creator, not to the universe itself. So we will see whether the creator of the universe will give me or not. We will leave it up to him, because he knows what is best for me. For example, I am ill. Because of my sickness, I am expected not to drink water. But I lived this. I lived this situation. I experienced this. I was dying for water. And doctors, nurses were not giving me water. Just a little bit. You cannot imagine. Just, if you put your finger in it, that is it. A finger size of water. I was begging. They were not giving, because they said it is very harmful and dangerous for you. From this experience, I understood that the need, the thirst of my spirit, my soul, is endless. And I don't know. As far as this worldly life is concerned, what is better for me? For example, if I say, if I am rich, it would be better for me. Can I guarantee it? No. I may be spoiled and forget about the creator, start bragging about my properties, my wealth, my money. And I may become a very arrogant man. I don't know the future. For example, looking back now, I changed a lot in my life. Tomorrow, I may change good, or I may change bad. I don't know. I cannot guarantee. I am not a fixed creature. I am a flexible creature. I have free will. I may choose this way or another way freely. That's how I am. I cannot guarantee that I always use the best option for me. Sometimes I want to do something, but I don't do it. Suddenly I change my temper. I have to rely not on my choice, I have to rely on my creator's choice. I say, please, God, give me some wealth. But I may be conscious of what I am doing. I may say, you know better than me. If it is good for me, give me wealth of this world. If it is not good for me, don't give. But I don't know. I think for the moment, if I have some wealth, I will be in a good shape. But will I? I don't know. I don't know. I may become spoiled with the wealth and forget about the giver. I experience many people in this position. How can I guarantee that I am not going to be one of them? So we have to present our expectations to our Creator, not to what I want within this universe. That is the difference needs to be made. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Ali Murmur. That's true. I mean, expectations are given to us, but they need to be directed in the right direction. And that's what I think we all are training for here. Like yesterday, we said that we need to turn our face towards the source of our existence. So really just connecting all our hopes, desires, feeling, expectations to the one that brings everything into existence. And all we're doing here is just utilizing our free will with whatever is available to sow the seed. But I'm not the one that's the source of existence of any result that's created. I just, I direct my expectations to the source of my existence. So thank you for sharing that. And I see Miriam from Ohio. Go ahead, please.
So what Aditya said reminded me of something that I had read in a book before. This was more of a religious book, but so what it was there was this family, and so they weren't the richest of families, but their father needed a new suit for church, and so the mother said, just pray to God that God will give us one. And one of the girls asked, how will God give us a suit? And she said, God knows best. And so later on in the story, Sunday is coming up and they still don't have a suit for their father. So but one of the daughters goes to her friends to play, and they were playing in the attic when they see a large coat, and her friend says, my grandpa was a very big man and he used to wear this. And she said, you could wrap this jacket around you 3 times. And then the girl had an idea, and so she brought the jacket home with her friend's permission. And so her mom made her father's suit out of that jacket. So God didn't give them money for the jacket. Instead, he gave them some stuff, some material to make a suit.
Oh, interesting story. You're right. Yeah, it's very relevant to what goes on around us in terms of we wish for something, and it's amazing how the order of the universe is set up in such a way that things come to us from like ways that we did not even imagine. So yeah, that's an interesting story that you shared. And I think like even personally, like practically, we must have experienced things of this nature as well. Like you're wishing for something and then, oh, look at that. Or you're thinking about someone or, and then suddenly you bump into them like on the train or something. And yeah, things like that do happen. Okay. All right. Does anyone else want to make a comment or has something to add? Whoa, look at that. So we'll have to ask H. Beza, please read up this nice narrative that you posted.
Oh my God. Okay, so um, I was talking about, these are rather my takeaways from the last couple of comments. And so my understanding of Mariam's comment was in imposing the expectations of my human reality upon the world and its inhabitants, I'm bound to be met with disappointment. So there is no way to kind of, to get out of this inevitable sort of result as a result of imposing something that, you know, extends beyond the universe to something that that is limited like the universe. But having said that, I cannot make my human expectations disappear. So as other friends have been saying, I need to redirect my expectations towards the one who gave them to me, and the experience of disappointment of an expectation not being met within the universe is my creator responding to that need. And so I said that the experience of the disappointment gives me the opportunity to then present my expectations to the one who gave them to me. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that comment. Yeah, makes sense. And people are applauding. Yep, that's true. This is how the order of the universe is set up in such a way that, you know, we need to just redirect our expectations or realize that things are coming to us from the source of our existence. Because at the end of the day, the one that's giving us existence is the one that's creating all the needs and hopes that are given to us or that we experience. So that maker must be the one to fulfill those needs, or must help us discover that order where we can totally meet our expectations. And yep, interesting. Anyone else wants to say something? A comment? Something exciting? Or if you have a question, we love questions, really. There's some interesting folks here. Mary, I'm from Ohio. Go ahead.
To fill in the silence, because no one else raised their hand, and because Hatice Abla gave out her own takeaways, if it's fine, could I share my notes?
Yes, I was so waiting forward to it. This is perfect timing. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so my notes for this fourth sign are, this universe is not real as you think it's real. Past and present is tangible. There is no God but God. There must be a source of existence. We all search for eternity. There is a limit for everything. My spirit or soul is not satisfied with this world because it wants eternity. It wants eternity because our Creator is eternal. My soul will go away from this universe while my body rots because my soul does not belong here, while my body is made specifically for this world. Or universe, it shouldn't be world. What makes me human? And that was just a question to think about. If you say that you belong in this world, you will live in a small area, but imagine, you will be stuck. If you say that you belong to your Creator, your soul will be free and you will be able to do much more than you could when you believed that you belonged to the universe itself. When you ask your Creator for something and you get it, you become happy. But after a while of getting this thing, it becomes normal and you mix up the Creator giving you that thing and the universe giving it to you. Redirect your expectations towards the one who gave them to you. Thank you.
Oh, wow, mashallah. This was amazing, actually. Like a lot of points on target. And yeah, definitely applause from Ali Murmur, Beza and Fariha. Thank you for sharing this. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you made some good point actually, because I was also thinking about things, when we receive something, a blessing, bounty, everything, basically existence in general is a blessing. But then we can quickly associate it to the created things or the universe, like you said, and then get lost with it. So yeah, these reminders are a must to refresh our understandings about our existence and to reorient our desires and hopes towards the true object of worship. And I see that there is a comment on the chat from Tolu. Tolu, can you please share out what you say, if you can speak?
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just not tracking the line of thinking that we're using today. I get that there are things that I want that the universe cannot provide for me. The current universe that I'm in right now cannot provide for me. But as far as I'm understanding, I'm not tracking our reasoning past that. Okay, so sure, for instance, the things that I want that I cannot get in this world that we're in. Okay, and then what? I'm finding it hard to follow from there.
Okay. So good concern in terms of how can I go on with, yes, I recognize that the universe cannot give me what is it that my spirit yearns for. So where do I go from here? Very legitimate concern. And I see that our friend Miriam has something posted up here. So let's see what Miriam has to say. Miriam, you want to go ahead and read your comment and then we can go from there, please? Thank you.
Okay, so what I was trying to point out there was, first of all, the universe doesn't give you anything because the universe itself has a source of existence. So the universe itself cannot give you anything. Our creator gives us everything. And the second thing is that our soul wants much more than the universe itself. Then the universe's limits. Like the universe has limits, and so our soul wants to go beyond those limits because our creator is one who can go beyond those limits. And so really what our soul wants is not this universe, but it wants our creator itself. So it wants to connect with our creator, and that's why our creator created us this way, to show that we are originally with him and with nothing else. So we always have to go back to him with everything, and that is just something that shows that we do have to do that, and there's no getting out of that.
Thank you, Miriam, for your comment. I don't know if Tulu has any follow-up on this. Tulu, feel free to express yourself out.
Thank you for your explanation, Miriam. I think it's helpful, and I just need to sit with that a little bit more. I think I have some more questions after that, but they're taking some time to form in my mind. So please just give me some time, and maybe next week I'll come back with some more questions. But thank you, Miriam. That was helpful.
Yeah, fair enough. Thank you. It all makes sense. Yeah, definitely we need to also reflect more and digest, what is it exactly that everything in this universe points to. So really starting with my own existence. Yeah, it's all valid, and feel free to ask your follow-up questions again, and while we all together reflect on this human journey that we find ourselves with. Ali Murmur, I see your hand up. Go ahead, please.
It's a very interesting question, and not also only interesting, but general question. How can I direct my expectations to my creator? Now, I'm living in a practical life, and I just go to the universe and try to get whatever I need. But in fact, we are studying the fourth sign here. Fundamentally, it teaches us that if you define yourself in corporeal terms only, or you may define yourself in your soul terms. So if I define myself in corporeal terms, then I will, not necessarily I can, but definitely, according to my definition of myself, I will direct my expectations to this world. But unless I deeply think about it, seriously think about it, whatever this world gives me, it disappears. And I need one more. But as the time passes, I have to notice that I am getting closer to death. I am losing anything I get from this world. On top of this, I am getting closer to death, and my corporeal being will be disintegrated in the earth. That is what the future is expecting in this world for me. Another aspect of this world, this matter is, yes, the order seems to be fixed, but not altogether fixed. For example, I may get a new car, and the car is perfectly designed according to the conditions of the order of the universe, and it is working perfectly. Can these perfect conditions of the working of the car guarantee me that, first, I'm not going to have an accident? Second, does it guarantee that it is going to last forever? Third, am I going to last forever? Because my human side, whether I accept it or deny it, regardless, my human side looks for perfect, eternal satisfaction, happiness. As far as the conditions of the order of this universe are concerned, there is no eternity, there is no perfection, there is no satisfaction, there is no limitless happiness. It contradicts my nature. That's which we are learning from this text that we learned. We are reading here. The text says, everything depends on your definition of your own being. Be careful about it. You don't consist of your corporeality. You are, as human beings. As far as your expectations are concerned, your expectations come from your spirit, your human side, your soul. Your soul wants guaranteed future. I have to question where and how I had this expectation, and who can satisfy this expectation, because it's my reality. I should not diverse the direction of my expectations to the world, but to the creator of these expectations. by definition, the universe's creator has to be, from my side, it must be eternal. So I have to direct my expectations to my creator. My creator gave me corporeality as well. So I have to obey the order of the universe as far as the corporeality is concerned. Excuse me, there is a note. Is it for me on the chat? Someone must be watching. What does it mean? But who? I see. I wonder who is watching our movie. I couldn't get it. I was concentrating on my side, but I am about to finish. Maybe I'm finished. So you can make your, explain what you mean by it. Definitely you want to say something. So I have to know that I cannot guarantee the future. Even if I guarantee the future, this world offers me a future which is ending with deterioration completely. So it is not for me. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to expect anything from this world, but I should know that I will try my best, what is good for me, but I cannot guarantee, but I need guarantee. I have to realize my reality, what it is, what my reality is, so that accordingly, I will say, look, I am trusting the creator, asking him, but he will give me in this world whatever is best for me. So I will work with alongside with the order of the universe, but my trust is not in the universe, but in the creator of the universe. Whatever I can get from the universe, I will say that is my share while I am in this world, but I know the source of the universe who is going to satisfy his promise to me. What is his promise? His promise is the desire he gave me in my being, the desire for eternal happiness. I have to keep this balance. I have to know that. I have to learn this. How can I keep this balance? For example, I will make my car as perfect as possible within the conditions of the order of this universe, but at the same time, I should never ignore and neglect it. I should trust in God's decision, not the order's itself decision, because I don't know what the future will bring to me. I have to say, please, God, that is the way how I communicate with the Creator. Make my future best for me. I don't know. It doesn't mean that only protecting me from getting involved into a traffic accident, maybe ending up with death. I don't know whether it is good for me. Maybe it is good, maybe it is bad for me within the conditions of this universe, because I don't belong to this universe anyway. Not dying is not purpose of my life. Not dying. My purpose of life is to be connected to my creator. That is my purpose of life. I have to understand, but I am created within the universe. Of course, I have to follow the order of this universe, but my connection is to the creator of the order, not the order. Order is I am obeying because the order is set by my creator. In the name of God, I obey the order, but not in the name of nature. If in the name of the order, I obey the order. No. In the name of the creator, I obey the order. That is the balance in this world, as far as I understand. Thank you.
Indeed, in the name of the one that's bringing this order into existence, do I obey the will of such a one. Thank you. Miriam, you have your hand up. Go ahead, please.
My comment's pretty short, but it's not necessarily about the fourth sign. It's about what was going on in chat. So Miriam and Rian said that, I need to scroll up in chat to see. They said that they realized yesterday that their existence is like playing a role in a movie. And so we were all just talking about like that, like who was watching it. And that was all that we were talking about.
All right, thank you. Perfect summary of what was said. Just checking in to see if there are any last minute comments from anyone. Does anyone want to say something? Maybe a little comment or your takeaway? Yes, Miriam and Rayan, go ahead, please.
Oh yeah, so I just want to say that, like, you know how we were talking about like we're playing a role in a movie. So like I also want to say that we're guests in this universe, and like everything is just gonna stay here, but we're gonna go, like we're gonna leave this universe and go to like a different, like, you know, a different world, the hereafter. So like you know how you go into a hotel, like you just stay there, like you're not like living there, like you just stay there, and then you go back to your normal home, which is like, yeah. So that's what I'm basically saying. Like we're guests in this universe, so it isn't just a movie.
Oh, that's a perfect conclusion of what was shared. Thank you, Miriam and Ran. You're right. We're just guests here and roaming around. Nothing belongs to us here. We're getting ready for departure soon. Ali Marmar's applauding. And I see Miriam's hand up. Go ahead, Miriam.
I know I spoke a lot today, but I just wanted to say before we ended the class, I just wanted to say a few notes that I just added. So I added 3 extra notes. So is it all right if I quickly say those before we end?
Yes, go for it, please.
Okay. So my first note was, your soul wants to go beyond this universe's limits. It wants to do this because our creator can do it. So what our soul really wants is our creator. My second note that I added was, your purpose in this universe is to connect with your creator. And my last note was about what Miriam and Rayan said. We are guests in this universe, and we will leave one day and go to our original home. Thank you.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you for sharing these out. I saw Brother Adam's hand up. I don't know if it was an illusion, but I don't know, if somebody had their hand up, feel free to say something. We can take a last comment. If not, let me see. Okay, if not, then yeah, we can end here for today. Okay, everyone, thank you all for participating. Next Sunday, we can move on with the 15 note and see what the author means by, he's sharing the verse, and whoever has done an atom's weight of good shall see it, and whoever has done an atom's weight of evil shall see it. So really, what does good mean and what does evil mean? Let's find out next week, inshallah. Thank you again for your contribution and beautiful discussion. Very beneficial. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma alamtana. Innaka anta al-alimul hakim. Glory be unto you. We have no knowledge saved except that which you've taught us. Indeed, you're all knowledgeable, all wise. Wa akhru dawahum anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Bi hurmati sirra surat al-Fatiha. Ameen. Jazakallah khair, everyone. I'm very happy to see everyone who participates, especially Fresh Blood. Yeah, bring it on. Keep coming. We are learning